Hello, future medical professionals. Welcome to an exciting session on excretory products and their elimination. Today, we are diving deep into disorders, conditions that can seriously impact our body's waste removal system. From basic understanding to competitive insights, we'll explore kidney stones, renal failure, and more. Get ready for a 4-level learning journey designed to make you master this crucial topic for any ET. Let's start with the basics. What happens when our body's filters, the kidneys, don't work right? We'll uncover some common issues that can arise. Our excretory system, especially the kidneys, is vital for filtering waste and keeping our body balanced. When things go wrong, toxins build up, leading to various health problems. Take kidney stones, for example. These hard mineral deposits can cause excruciating pain and even blood in the urine, with calcium oxalate being the most common type. Understanding these basics is the first step to recognizing potential issues. Then there's glomerulonephritis, an inflammation of the tiny filters in our kidneys called glomeruli, which can lead to swelling and high blood pressure. And finally, renal failure, where kidneys lose their ability to remove waste. This can be sudden, known as acute renal failure, or develop slowly over time, called chronic renal failure. Recognizing these conditions and their symptoms is key. Time for some quick checks. Which of the following is a common symptom of kidney stones? What is glomerulonephritis? And what is the primary function lost during renal failure? Think about the definitions and symptoms we just discussed to answer these questions. Ready to go a bit deeper? Let's explore the causes, symptoms, and basic treatments for these excretory disorders. Renal failure, whether acute or chronic, signifies a critical loss of kidney function. Acute failure strikes suddenly, often due to dehydration or medication, and can be reversible. Chronic failure, however, is a gradual, irreversible decline, frequently caused by long-standing conditions like diabetes or high blood pressure. Both lead to a buildup of toxins, manifesting as fatigue, swelling, and reduced urine output. Uremia is a severe consequence of renal failure, where waste products like urea accumulate to toxic levels in the blood, affecting nearly every organ system. Meanwhile, glomerulonephritis, an inflammation of the kidney's filtering units, can stem from autoimmune reactions post-infection. Its hallmark symptoms include blood and protein in the urine, high blood pressure, and swelling. Kidney stones, or renal calculi, form when minerals in urine become too concentrated. Factors like dehydration or certain diets can contribute to their formation. While small stones might pass naturally with increased fluid intake, larger ones may require medical intervention like shock wave lithotripsy or even surgery. Identifying the type of stone, such as the common calcium oxalate, guides the best management strategy. Let's test your understanding of these medium-level concepts. What distinguishes acute from chronic renal failure? What is uremia and how does it manifest? What are common causes of glomerulonephritis? Name 2 types of kidney stones. And what are the basic management strategies for kidney stones? Take a moment to recall the details. Alright, let's elevate our understanding. We are now moving into the hard level, where we'll analyze mechanisms, classifications, and advanced treatments. Distinguishing between acute kidney injury and chronic kidney disease is vital. AKI is a rapid, often reversible decline, categorized by prerenal, intrarenal, or postrenal causes, each requiring specific interventions. CKD, conversely, is a progressive, irreversible loss, commonly driven by diabetes and hypertension, and is staged by GFR. Management shifts from acute rescue to slowing progression and preparing for long-term solutions. Delving deeper into renal calculi, we find diverse types: calcium stones, often visible on X-ray, struvite stones, linked to UTIs and potentially forming large staghorn shapes, uric acid stones, which are radiolucent and linked to gout, and rare cystine stones from genetic defects. Diagnosis relies on urinalysis and advanced imaging, while treatment ranges from hydration and medications to lithotripsy or surgical removal. When kidneys fail completely, renal replacement therapies become essential. Dialysis, either hemodialysis, filtering blood through an external machine, or peritoneal dialysis, using the abdominal lining as a filter, artificially removes waste. Kidney transplantation offers a more permanent solution, implanting a healthy donor kidney, but necessitates lifelong immunosuppression to prevent the body from rejecting the new organ. Now, for some harder questions. How do AKI and CKD differ in terms of reversibility and primary causes? Explain the formation and key characteristics of Struwite stones. Outline the main types of renal replacement therapy. What are the major challenges in kidney transplantation? Describe the role of GFR in classifying CKD. Identify factors contributing to uric acid stone formation. And finally, how does prerenal AKI differ from intrarenal AKI? Challenge yourself. Welcome to the hardest level. Here, we'll explore the intricate molecular mechanisms, cutting-edge technologies, and deep scientific insights relevant for top-tier competitive exams like NEET. Uremia is far more than just urea accumulation. It's a systemic syndrome caused by a vast array of uremic toxins. These toxins wreak havoc across all organ systems, causing encephalopathy and neuropathy neurologically, accelerating atherosclerosis and pericarditis cardiovascularly, leading to anemia hematologically, and causing profound GI disturbances. Understanding these widespread effects is crucial for managing end-stage renal disease. Glomerulonephritis is a complex inflammatory process within the glomeruli. It's classified as primary if kidney-specific, or secondary if part of a systemic disease like lupus. The injury mechanisms are diverse, ranging from immune complex deposition to direct podocyte damage, leading to distinct clinical syndromes like nephritic, hematuria, hypertension, or nephrotic, heavy proteinuria, severe edema. Pinpointing the exact mechanism guides targeted therapy. Hemodialysis, a lifeline for many, is a marvel of bioengineering. The hemodialyzer, or artificial kidney, is packed with semi-permeable hollow fibers. Blood flows inside, while dialysate flows countercurrent outside, maximizing solute diffusion and ultrafiltration. The membrane's biocompatibility and selective permeability are critical, while the dialysate's precise electrolyte and buffer composition ensures efficient waste removal and acid-base correction. The machine meticulously controls flow, pressure, and safety parameters. Kidney transplantation, though life-changing, faces significant immunological hurdles. The recipient's immune system recognizes the donor's HLA proteins as foreign, leading to rejection. This can range from hyperacute to acute and chronic forms. Lifelong immunosuppressive therapy, a delicate balance of drugs like calcineurin inhibitors and antiproliferatives, is essential to prevent rejection while minimizing side effects. Advances in HLA matching and novel immunosuppressants continue to improve transplant outcomes and patient survival. Let's tackle the first 5 hardest questions. Define uremic toxins and list 3 systemic manifestations of uremia. Differentiate between nephritic and nephrotic syndromes based on their primary clinical features and underlying glomerular injury. Explain the countercurrent flow mechanism in a hemodialyzer and its significance. Describe the role of HLA matching in kidney transplantation and the consequences of a mismatch. And finally, discuss 2 distinct immunological mechanisms that lead to glomerulonephritis. Here are the next 5 challenging questions. How do calcineurin inhibitors work in preventing transplant rejection? Identify the key engineering principles that govern solute and water movement during hemodialysis. What are the major differences in the pathophysiology of acute and chronic transplant rejection? Explain how dialysate composition is optimized for effective hemodialysis. And finally, discuss the long-term complications associated with immunosuppressive therapy in kidney transplant recipients. And that brings us to the end of our comprehensive session on excretory disorders. I hope you've gained a deeper understanding from the easy basics to the hardest competitive insights. Remember, consistent learning and practice are key to acing any ET. For more such engaging and detailed content, make sure to visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for regular updates and valuable study resources. Keep learning, keep growing, and excel in your NEET preparation. Thank you.